Now
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06 now as we plow through this busy Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in just 10 minutes, we're going to check in with Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. Brand new blockbuster revelations that the Obama State Department, when Joe Biden was vice president, blocked the FBI from arresting Iranian terrorists who were in this country illegally. Then at 7:35, Admiral James Foggo, he runs the Navy League Center for Maritime Strategy. 8:05, Josh Christensen, New York Post reporter. He's got, those two blockbuster stories we just delivered about Hunter Biden, as well as Dr. Moran's. He's Fauci's right-hand man, and apparently he figured out a way to delete emails to avoid FOIAs. Now he claims he doesn't realize that emails are federal records. It's good to be a Democrat, as our friend Chris Plant says, Mercedes.
Oh, he says it every day, actually. But I don't think his name is Moran. I think it must be Moron. He must be a moron.
Quite
Are you
possible.
serious?
Quite possible. Joining us right now is NICKI NEILY. Now, she's the president of Parents Defending Education. And NICKI, first, good morning. Good to have you, as always.
Thank you for having me.
And apparently there's a strike planned. Public school teachers here in the greater D.C. area are planning on going on strike, walking off the job on behalf of the Hamas terrorists in Gaza. Are you making this up, NICKI?
No, you know what? It's even worse than that. They're encouraging students to walk out of school and do this. So because D.C.'s public schools have such incredible proficiency rates, kids are so good at reading and writing and math, we're going to encourage them to just take a day off and they'll go hang out in support of these causes instead. So
they've put together a toolkit. This is a product of the teachers in the D.C. area. It says DMV High School Strike for Gaza Toolkit to teach them how to do it. Logistics, list of demands. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what's really scary is we don't actually know who's behind this. There's just like a Google form floating online saying, give us your phone number. How do we get in touch with you? What's your WhatsApp? What's your email? And so again, we don't know if this is like the Iranians collecting the information, if it's teachers' unions. There's a bunch of really, really nice people who are involved in this, like the American Muslims for Palestine organization that was recently hit with a lawsuit, right? And so just a lot of really good people are mixed up in this. And obviously D.C. being a very, very safe place where you want minor children to wander around by themselves. I mean, what could go wrong?
Exactly.
Well, you got to ask yourself, too. I mean, my favorite part here is the event includes free lunch. So not only is it free Palestine, but it's free lunch, for crying out loud. But, this is the insanity of what we're seeing. So this is taking what we've seen in the college campuses and then infiltrating the K through 12. And so you've seen this, not you're seeing this strike that's going to happen, but we're also seeing that, there's been teachers have been pushing this free Palestine concept in their curriculum and in their agenda. I mean, up to what point can the school leadership say, look, we either present both sides or we just don't talk about it at all?
Yeah, I mean, frighteningly, we're seeing school leaders who obviously support and are sympathetic to this because we've seen very unequal treatment of these protests, over the past couple of years, right? You'd get an excused absence if you walked out to oppose Dobbs in support of Palestine. But if a kid said, you know what, I want to go walk out in support of the Second Amendment, I want to go walk out for the March for Life, right? You would get an unexcused absence. You'd get your grades would get dinged. You wouldn't be able to retake a test. And so we really see administrators putting their thumb on the scale here.
So it sure sounds, we've been seeing this all across the college campuses, how organized and well-funded this is. And this toolkit for DMV students to go on a school strike for Gaza, supposed to happen tomorrow at 11 a.m. at McPherson Square. As Mercedes pointed out, free lunch. There's also information on how to set up a press liaison with the police and with the media. And it asked for these kids' names. Have you guys at Defending Education been able to trace it back to any other umbrella organization or any of the usual suspects that we've seen coordinating on college campuses?
Groups like American Muslims for Palestine, Jewish Voices for Peace, groups like that are involved, but they're advertisements on Facebook as well. And so, there really should be a lot more concern about this. It's strange that we're not getting from D.C. public schools or Arlington or Fairfax or other ones in the area. I mean, let's also think these kids are under 18. They're being encouraged to cross state lines to go hang
Yeah.
out with experienced community organizers. I mean,
Yep.
that really is
you
jaw-dropping.
You brainwash them and do it early. Is this happening beyond this area in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia? Have we heard of any of these other potential strikes happening across the country?
I mean, we saw initially that whole group of walkouts across the country, coast to coast, where kids were, again. And this is, anytime a student group walks out, it's conceived of as organic, right? I mean, these small, innocent children who are they're brilliant. It is so organized. It's so pushed. And so, there's a lot more threads to pull here.
We're speaking with Nikki Neily, president of Parents Defending Education. You get information at defendinged.org, defendinged.org. How are the local teachers involved with this? Are the teachers union involved in this? Or are they? Do we know? Because we saw this, again, on the college campuses as soon as these things broke out. It was the professors and the faculty who seemed to be the ones who were supporting and protecting the students as if they were part of it.
Yeah, I have not seen anything that directly ties back to local affiliates of teachers unions, but I plan on being there tomorrow. I look forward to kind of just scanning the crowd and kind of seeing who's involved and kind of what the organizations are, because this is going to be a pretty professional operation. And,
one other follow up on that, if we don't see, if we can't link these back to the teachers, and I thought that there had been, so I'm glad that we can clear that up. But if we know this is out here, I've seen this on local news. I've seen you talking about it, Nikki. That's why we've got you on here. Where are the school superintendents of in Fairfax, in Montgomery County, Loudoun County? They should get in front of this. Shouldn't they be letting their students know right now? If you're even thinking about this, you'll be truant. You can't do this. Don't do this. This is unauthorized. I haven't seen anything from any of the local school systems.
No, right. And the silence is deafening. Can you imagine if there was some kind of, student, faculty, et cetera, walkout in favor of, like a unite the right type thing? I mean, there would be such an outcry, right? Anything remotely conservative, there would be people saying, how dare you, can't do this. But the silence is it's deafening from our administration officials.
Nikki, what else are, talking about that, obviously on the Israeli standpoint, do you think it would be smart on the other side for there to be this organized effort, or would it work?
I think, we did, there were a couple of months ago, obviously there was a really big, several 100,000 people came to D.C. in support of Israel. But I think, taking a step back, we don't use children as, child soldiers in this stuff. We actually want kids to be in school and learning.
Yeah.
Right.
And so for the other side to say, your education's not important, activism is more important. I saw a really funny AP article about some of the Princeton walkouts. And one of the students who was expelled said, well, this is what was in my admissions application. You knew what you were getting when you admitted me, right? You liked that I was an activist. And so it's kind of a reap the whirlwind situation.
Well, listen, we got to run. Senator Ron Johnson is waiting on. We got a busy morning here. But, Nikki, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Thank you, Nikki.